like if all we have to work with here is dude is on car kicking a windshield, that is a perfect time for somebody to approach and hit him with some OC spray.
Sure, sure.
You
Yeah.
know.
Or to drive off with the car that he's standing on top of so he falls to
Now
the ground.
we do have the fact that he did punch somebody in the face, which depending on who that victim is could be potential. Has the potential for approaching lethal
Yeah, but
force.
but now we have imminence
But
issues because that would
yeah,
presumably that had happened and
well,
that was
it's
resolved and those people had
evidence that
left and
it's evidence of the
intent.
danger that this man
Sure. But he needs to be
presents.
posing danger
Hmm.
in the moment
Yeah.
that the
Well,
response is
he
used.
did approach a customer. We just don't know what that looked like. It just says approached another customer.
Yeah, yeah.
So we
And
just
we don't
don't.
know who the customer is, right?
Yeah.
We lack anything that would justify the use of a gun.
Yeah. So there's that point, and that's very, very valid here. The other thing that I was going to touch on is that it's okay. If we make the determination that yes, deadly force is justified, meaning a gun is drawn and introduced into the equation, then it's justified, and a warning shot is pointless at that point.
Yeah.
And often I mean, sometimes they work, but in this case, it did not. I mean, this guy is clearly not making rational decisions. So obviously the warning shot didn't work, and then he gets shot in the leg. And so what my point there was that's either an intentional decision to shoot in the leg because somehow that's better than it's better to shoot to wound than to potentially kill them. But the flaw in that logic is shooting anybody anywhere has the potential for killing them, especially in a leg where you have one of the largest arteries in your body. So that's never, that's a crapshoot. The other half of
Yeah.
that is, okay, maybe it was not intentional. Well, then the problem there is that their skill sucks.
Yeah, learn to shoot. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're aiming
Yeah.
here, but you hit down there. Like
Yeah.
that's also a problem. And that was my point.
And from a legal perspective, there's no world where any judge, any jury, any prosecutor ever will say, "Oh, you intended to shoot him in the leg, then in that case, this is not not deadly force."
Yeah, you're off
You
the
know,
hook.
you're off. Oh, if your motive was just to injure somebody, then we're
Right.
good. Like when the gun comes out, for all purposes of the law, you're using deadly force.
Right. Anyway, that's quite a story, and that's why we brought it to you.
Bonkers. Call 911. Find different ATM.
Right.
That's where I'm at.
We have another story here in our What Not to Do segment. Title of it is Robbers Shoot Woman. Boyfriend Returns Fire in Philadelphia's Port Richmond section. This was reported on May 7th, so a few weeks ago in the Philadelphia area.
It's bonkers.
This one is also bonkers. I mean, okay, it starts out as a robbery. It's on the street. It actually talks about how a 27-year-old man and his 26-year-old girlfriend were walking after they had just parked. So I don't know where they're going, but they have just gotten out of a parked vehicle and they're walking someplace.
It's 10 p.m. at night.
Relevant. Yeah, it's late, it's dark. Two men approach them and hold them at gunpoint. So, all right, a lethal weapon is introduced on the part of the bad guys here. And it says here, these words are key, but the victims didn't back down. And it goes on to say that the boyfriend got into a fight with the men. And when the girlfriend intervened, one of the suspects shot her in the leg. Okay, so this is the first reason why this is in the What Not to Do segment, because you're approached by two robbers. They are very obviously armed with a gun. It specifically says that. So a gun is introduced, it's in your face or whatever, right? You have a couple of courses of action. You can play the victim and just say, hey, okay, like whatever, dudes, like do what you got to do. And I mean,
here's the money, here's the thing,
here's
the whatever.
Exactly. And, sometimes that works out. Okay. But sometimes it doesn't. We certainly have documented instances where even after a victim hands over the requested items that they then get shot. The one that always comes to mind, Jacob, is the convenience store clerk. I think it was in Mississippi, where after like empties the cash register drawer, the robber he's got him down on the ground and he just walks over and shoots him point blank. And when he when he's later explains his actions, he said he just wanted to know what it felt like to kill somebody that day.
Yeah,
And
it
so
happens.
my point is like you think, okay, if I just comply, like everything will be fine and we'll get out of this just fine. That is an option. It's an option that doesn't always go the way people think. The other option is if you have the opportunity to and you are carrying a defensive tool like a gun, if I have the opportunity, the timing is right, I defend myself, right?
Deploy. Yep.
In this case, instead, it sounds like they start fighting with the robbers physically. That's generally not the unless you don't have any other option and you don't have a weapon, that's generally not the course of action I
Yeah,
advise.
we don't know how it escalated. What we do know, what hasn't been said yet, is that the good guy who's fighting with the bad guys, he is armed. In case,
He is.
so
We don't know
this
that
is
yet, but
this yeah. The option you're providing is not hypothetical. Like in this specific circumstance, he did have all these options because he was armed, and so we don't know how necessarily that escalator got physical. But the sense that you get based on the narrative that's given by the journalist, by the reporter, is this sense of like they wouldn't comply, they were pushing back, like no way, no how, and it's interesting because I imagine it's like a 2-on-1 fight. We got two bad guys fighting with one good guy, and then the girlfriend's like, "Well, this like I'm going to help out somehow. I'm going to
she
do
gets
my
involved.
part."
Yeah.
We don't know how she gets involved. Just that she gets involved, and then when she does, when the bad guys is like, "Not today,"
She gets
pops